Hello and welcome. Gone are the days when Nigerians would think twice before they purchase a ticket at the cinemas just to see a Nigerian movie. Call that an exaggeration, but in the last few years, there's been a remarkable improvement in the quality of work coming out of Nigeria's movie industry. Many of them are now breaking the box office as they draw more moviegoers to the cinemas. Talk about King of Boys, Chief Daddy, Gold Statue, and Lionheart, just to name a few. Today on BOI Weekly, we feature 4 players in the Nollywood industry who are beneficiaries of the Bank of Industry's ₦1 billion Nollyfund. Golden Effects Limited, owned by veteran filmmaker Kunle Afolayan, got the Bank of Industry's support to make the movie The CEO. Kingsley Ogoro's Clink Studios, a subsidiary of Kingsley Ogoro Production, is a full-service film production, equipment rental and broadcast consulting firm servicing the needs of filmmakers and other creative professionals. Credited with contributing immensely to reviving the theatre industry in Nigeria, Bolanle Austin Peters has produced musicals that have made waves on the foreign scene. Okechukwu Ogunjefo, also known as Oke or Polo, is the producer of Nigeria's premier movie, Living in Bondage, and currently the CEO, Video Sonic Studios. They all talk about the impact of the Bank of Industry's Nollyfund in the undeniable holistic growth of the Nollywood industry, and more specifically, how the intervention has affected their specific projects. I'm Kaide Alayande. Stay close.
Mr. Jimmy Isu? I have a client.
International auditing firm PricewaterhouseCoopers has projected that the global film and entertainment industry would make as much as $105 billion between 2015 and 2019.
You can have a child, going around with elephant ears.
On seeing this potential, the Bank of Industry decided to invest ₦1 billion in the different value chains of the Nigeria film and entertainment industry, especially Nollywood, so that films and theatre, as well as other creative works produced here, can conform to international standards and compete globally. Under the arrangement called Nollyfund, Nigeria's leading movie producers and other professionals in the value chain have received financial support to produce films using the highest quality standards and screened them through various platforms of movie distribution available both in Nigeria and internationally. The results are already being seen with the impressive quality of films coming out of Nigeria in recent years.
Standing by. Sound.
Kunle Afolayan is a Nigerian filmmaker whose earlier works like Figurine, October 1 and Phone Swap have done well at the cinemas. That's besides his most recent work, The CEO, which claimed one of the highest grossings at the box office. Kunle Afolayan didn't attempt to execute The CEO alone. He got the Bank of Industry in on it, under the bank's ₦1 billion Nollyfund as filmmaker and production house. We visit the Golden Effects Limited studio in Ikeja, Lagos, where he spoke about the BOI intervention on that project, as well as other matters arising in the movie and entertainment industry.
Golden Effects as an institution where I work, we applied for two different facilities. The first one is a facility to help produce one of our films, The CEO, in 2016, and it was quite a commendable journey, because one, apart from the relationship with them, we happen to be one of the first beneficiary of the facility. And I remember the MD then even, took it upon himself to visit the location where we were filming, I mean, just to encourage us and also see, what we do and how it works. And that encouraged not just myself, but the entire cast and crew who were on that shoot. And after then, a lot of other people had applied because they saw that BOI was not just in need for the money, for the recoupment of their investment, but also to see that the facility helped in bringing the vision to life. So that was one. Then the second one was we applied for facility for business development, which helped us in getting more equipment for our company, especially the rental part of the production company. The creative industry, to a large extent, does not have a kind of structure that helps to explain or present a proper account spreadsheet of what is sold, what you have, your sales projection, and all of that. And of course, any bank that will want to give you money wants to see your sales projection. They want to see how you want to, even back up your loan, or how you want to ensure that you don't default. But with the loan we took, of course, I don't have any collateral to put. So BOI took it upon themselves to ensure that a lot of those gaps were covered. For example, for the film, apart from giving the money, they also ensure that there is a distributor tied to the production, so that when the film is completed, you don't have to start looking for a distributor. And of course, that will help in ensuring that the film is monetized. So the film starts, it's a collaborative journey from the beginning, up till when it's completed and is released. And that takes off a lot of, weight from the filmmaker. And the film also serves as a form of equity, in a way, for not just the filmmaker, but also for Bank of Industry. So right now it's a different ballgame, because a lot of the financial institutions are also looking now to come after BOI started. A lot of them, feel that there's a lot more to get, and most of them are now creating a lot of different packages for the creative industry. But to a large extent, BOI started, that very one that gives the opportunity to apply without even having collateral.
Kingsley Ogoro got the Bank of Industry supports to upgrade a wide array of state-of-the-art production equipment for Clink Studios, a subsidiary of Kingsley Ogoro Productions. Clink Studios is a full-service film production, equipment rental and broadcast consulting firm servicing the needs of filmmakers and other creative professionals in Nigeria since the early 90s. With a solid track record of 24 years of exemplary quality production delivery, which today has made it a reference point in the audiovisual industry, it was not difficult for Kingsley Ogoro to get the Bank of Industry's funding under the Nollyfund scheme.
When BOI started with this Nollyfund, it was like a lot of people did not understand it. And they just felt that maybe BOI should hand them money and they should just go away. But they're now beginning to understand that no, it doesn't work that way, even in Hollywood or even in the UK. If you want funding, you have to give a proposal, you have to make the sponsor understand what you're trying to do with the money. You understand? So we are getting there. We're getting there. A lot of us are prepared. I'm already in it because I understand the business. I read the proposal, and they understood the proposal, and they understood the chart, they understood the cash flow analysis and all that, and they went with it, and everything has been selling well. The cinema, as Kenneth, for example, went through with it, and the cinema is bubbling everywhere. And a lot of us, the filmmakers who have been the beneficiaries, have been doing that, and a lot of us are getting there. The ones that don't understand, we are also helping to educate them on how these things work. I remember some time back, I was telling a colleague of mine who was skeptical that, look, somebody else has gotten it. The person is not bigger than you. So all you need to do is understand how these things work and go with it. Before the intervention of BOI, our studio was already the top studio in the country. But what we just needed to do was align ourselves with the international standards. You understand? Because our standards here was different. What our clients who would come and pay cash wanted was kind of different from what obtained then. Now, what we did with BOI was we said, look, most of this equipment, we want to, update all of them, you understand, and buy new stuff, accessories here and there, so that anybody who comes to shoot is not going to say, oh, I need to go to London to shoot, or I need to go to London to post-produce, because we have that same thing that they have in London, and we have it here. So that was what we did, you understand, and we went as far as purchasing the same type of equipment they use in shooting the blockbuster movies in America, the Avengers, the like Ari Alexa, which is behind us here, and we were able to get most of those stuff, and so they are available in Nigeria. The term of our loan is cannot be, really specified, because it's actually tied to the ecosystem which BOI has created. Now, this is the way it works. The equipment that is required by the beneficiary, the film producer, the amount for that equipment is pulled out from source, which is tied to the principal of our own facility. I'll say, for example, say we have a loan of 100 million, and producer A comes in and says, I require equipment of 10 million. What BOI does is take that 10 million from source as part of our loans payback. So meaning that as soon as the first producer is done, I have the 10 million paid back in my facility. You understand that? So that amount for the loan, the principal from the loan, is taken from source, from the producer, before the producer even shoots. So that's a way of easing the facility. You get it? They will, they also forward some form of payment for you to take care of the producer, monitoring and all that, to run the production. A percentage is taken out from there, so they don't really take out the full total amount. They pass on some amount to the producer, to the studio, to be able to fund the production.
The storytelling quality of every picture is the same.
Okechukwu Ogunjiofor, also known as OK, is the MD CEO of Videosonic Studios and pioneer producer of the Nigerian Nollywood industry. He wrote Living in Bondage, the first movie ever to come out of Nollywood. However, Polo, as he's also fondly called, his many successful movies and television series to his credit over the last few decades. Despite his extended days in the industry, Polo is not slowing down at all. He recently wrote and produced a soon-to-be-released movie, Amina, a biopic on the life of the legendary Queen Amina of Zaria. The project is proudly supported by the Bank of Industry.
Before the night is over, you'll be the most powerful, feared woman.
Bank of Industry wasn't a place I was coming to because it was for industry. So when you hear that, it's not a place that somebody who doesn't have industry will go to, in as much as we're practicing in a film industry. But I didn't think an individual can just walk in there and get some money. So I went to a friend of mine and I told him, look at what I'm going to. I've just gotten a grant and I want to make this film. And I'm still looking for investors. Is there any way we can structure things? He said, I think Bank of Industry has a desk now that you can approach. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, go and make inquiries and you will see what they will give you the criteria. If you think you can meet those criteria, fine. And I came here and I collected the criteria, everything. They look bogus for some people, but for me, they weren't so much of something that one cannot do. They were asking about corporate governance. How is your company being run over these years? Do you have this structure? Do you have tax papers? Have you been paying? If you've been paying, where are the documentations? If you are limited, where are your team numbers? You know, a lot of things that ordinarily our people run away from. And I said, wait a minute, is this all they're asking for? And so in one day, I brought all those things to this place. And with my proposal. Yes, because of the normal processes loans will go through. If it was going to be something that one person can stamp and give me, I believe I would have gotten it the first day. But the boards have to sit, the presentation have to be made, the defense have to be made, the documents have to be scrutinized, and some costs and checks and balances will have to be done, visitations and all that need to be verifications, and then due diligence was done. Once I am sure that the offer letter came, and I am sure that I have paid some things that I need to do here and there to get it done, I went to jobs. I began to move because I have hope that money is coming. I began to raise investors. More investors were now willing to see those papers and say, hey, if you have, I can come. That's how we want to began to do our audition before the loan matured. I started going to North, started getting, building my sets. I was anticipating that this money was coming. So eventually it came. And then we began to shoot. And then it wasn't all we needed to shoot. But you know, Bank of Industry is a development bank. So whatever they give you, if you are wise, you will know. And that is also to expand your capacity to get to expand your business and get in more investors. And we did. And today we're happy with the relationship, and we have the perspective I had, the perception I had of Bank of Industry changed dramatically, because I didn't find some will say they found it difficult to meet certain things, but I don't think, because I had some of them, I didn't do them because of Bank of Industry. So I had them already. So it was easy for me to walk in here within the same week. I have come back with everything that was required.
Recovering from decades of comatose as a result of infrastructural deficit, theatre in Nigeria is no longer homeless, with the privately owned, state-of-the-art 400-seater TerraCulture Arena. When the CEO, TerraCulture, Bolanle Austin Peters, approached the Bank of Industry to fund the infrastructure, BOI threw its weight behind the project because it considers theatre a major comparative advantage for the country. Now, art enthusiasts as well as young and old talents in the various forms of cultural arts, especially music, dance and drama, have a home at TerraCulture. The relationship between Bolanle Austin Peters and the Bank of Industry began when she needed funding for the international tour of her work, Wakat the Musical.
Our first interaction with the Bank of Industry was when we were about to take Wakat the Musical to London. We approached the Bank of Industry and they sponsored the event to London. I mean, naturally, if you know anything about the arts, you'll know that most of these plays will not stand alone financially if you don't have sponsors that are involved, because we don't run long enough for us to have that financial breakthrough. Yes, so Bank of Industry supported us when we went to London with Wakat the Musical. What we do here at Terra is we just keep churning out material, and we try to do our best in whatever it is that we do. I think for a long time, theatre sort of like died out in Nigeria, mainly because of infrastructure issues. We didn't have theatres for practitioners to perform, essentially. And then when TerraCulture came on board, we opened up our space and allowed theatre practitioners to come on board, and the rest is history. So we keep doing. A lot more people are also involved So we're not the only ones doing this, but it's getting better and better. 3 years ago, we decided that in order to ensure that theatre is viable, that we needed to have our own space because the cost of moving plays around is really, really high. So we approached the Bank of Industry, and the Bank of Industry granted us a loan. And it was because of that I was able to complete the theatre that we built here. And we paid back within 18 months that loan. And I think we've had other conversations about other facilities that we're about to draw down on from the Bank of Industry, depending on how things go. You know, the important thing is if you look at what we do here, if we didn't have that space, when you came in today, you saw close to maybe 100 young performers in that space. If we didn't have that space, these people will not be able to come here and rehearse for all the plays that we all produce. Apart from that, we need to constantly bring in more infrastructure into Nigeria, generally in every sector. So Bank of Industry has helped us simply because by giving us that loan for us to build that space, we've been able to create more jobs. For instance, at Christmas, we had about 5 plays running simultaneously. We had over 400 people on our payroll, apart from our regular staff. So you can imagine if we didn't have that space to put together all of these plays, there would be no, all these jobs wouldn't have been created. So I think there's sort of like a direct correlation between being able to access facilities as this and us being able to do what we do. You know, we took Waka the musical, we took Saro the musical to London, but we're sold out all the times that we're there. We've been to Egypt with Fela and the Kalakuta Queens. The South African State Theatre has invited Fela and the Kalakuta Queens to show at the Royal Opera Theatre for 3 weeks. It's the first ever to my mind that a Nigerian musical is being funded by another country to come and perform commercially to the public. So I think things are changing. People want to learn about us. You must understand that African stories are selling, but what is lacking is that excellence. You know, people want us to do it at that level that we can compete with other players in the space all over the world. And I think that's what we're all striving to become, to export excellent products. And I think that somehow we're getting there. With a lot of encouragement and support from different people and different parties, things are getting better. It can only get better. But it's important that we all support the industry. It's important that people understand that everywhere else in the world, the arts typically gets grants, sponsorship, to be able to excel and to operate at that level. It's only in Nigeria that people expect the arts and artists to become business people.
One thing to take away from those interviews is the fact that aside from the funds from the Bank of Industry, the partnership with BOI actually shielded the producers from certain exposures. For instance, working with them to secure a healthy deal with the cinemas. That's just the tip of the iceberg when you bring the Bank of Industry on board, regardless of the industry that you play in. That's our show for today. We are always glad to have you join us. For questions or queries on how you too can be a beneficiary of the Bank of Industry's intervention funds, feel free to tweet at me at KAY Alayande or at the Bank of Industry at BOI Nigeria. You can also visit their website at boi.ng or any of their branches closest to you. Feel free to apply for any of the bank's loans online. Simply download the BOI SME Loan app from the Google Play Store and follow the instructions. I'm Kayode Alayande. Bye now.